G'day folks, welcome back to another episode of All Things Outdoors. Tonight I'm embarking on another build project, and it is to put a semi-permanent gas hot water system into our Chesney President Caravan. You might have seen some videos that I've done on the Chesney President. We took a 1973 Caravan and fully gutted and renovated it, and we've never turned back. The kids absolutely love it, and we've had an absolute wow of a time using that thing. But now we're going to make it even more comfortable by installing a semi-permanent gas hot water system into the Caravan. In particular, this one here that we've got from Adventure Kings.
Paddling jacks, driving on the tracks, and so much more. Come along with All Things Outdoors.
Now, the beauty about this sort of gas hot water system is that you can install it in a caravan sort of situation, but you don't need certification from a gas fitter because you don't have any permanent gas lines installed in the system. Basically, what it's designed to do is the gas heater itself gets hung up on the outside of the caravan, and you plug all of the pipes into it as well as the gas bottle fitting there, and then you're literally cooking with gas, as it were. But all that you would need to install in your caravan is a place to hold a 9 kilo gas bottle, and then the gas fitting that runs to the water heater is just like the one that you would have on your barbecue. So there's no permanently installed gas fittings on the Caravan, which means that you don't need any certification from a gas fitter. Only thing is that you would have to each time you set up the Caravan, go and install the gas heater on the front or wherever you've got it set up and plug the lines in. But if we install all of the other water pipes and things like that, it's just plug and play basically. So let's get to it, open up the box and see what we've got inside. Okay, so we've got the gas hot water heater itself. There is our gas bottle line and regulator, and then finally we've got a box of hoses and fittings. So in the little accessories box here we've got the hose for the cold water side of the heater. We have a hose for the output side, nicely colour coded, cold, hot. We have a 12 volt water pump to supply the water pressure to the gas hot water system. We have a shower head if we ever want to use the shower part of it. And then we have a couple of different options for powering the device. So we've got a 12 volt cigarette lighter type setup here, and it's got a switch on it which operates the pump. And then we've got a alligator clips to hook up to a battery with a SIG socket there, so you can basically just run this really ad hoc straight off a battery, but because we're going to install in the Caravan, we're going to make it a bit nicer than that. And then just a couple of spanners and hose clamps and the instructions. Right, so the plan is to install these pipes permanently onto the Caravan. So we'll have this one here, the cold water side, which will run out of our onboard water tank, but I'll also have a valve in there so that we can also draw water from shore. So if we're at a caravan park, we can draw water from the caravan park water, and then we've got endless water basically. But we will have the option then of having to pull water supply from the onboard tank if we're free camping. And then obviously the hot water side will go to either an outlet on the outside so we can have a shower, or the other side will go up to, the other side will go up to the mixer tap that we've got on the sink inside the Caravan. So we've got running hot water at the sink in the Caravan. So it'll just be a matter of, if you want to have a shower outside, you just flick a valve there and it'll supply hot water out to the shower rose. Then obviously we'll fit this 12 volt pump underneath as well, so that it'll supply the water pressure from the cold water hose into the hot water system. and then we'll just have to permanently mount the wiring. There is a switch here which will have to be mounted somewhere where it's accessible, obviously, so that'll probably be near the sink, something like that. And then I'll just cut the wires and hook it into the fusing system inside the Caravan so that the wiring is protected from surges. And then lastly, for the gas hot water unit itself, it has got a little hanging system here. So with these systems, you might generally hang them on a tree or hang them on an outside of a Caravan or something like that, because they've got to have nice airflow around them and not be in a confined space. Obviously when you're burning gas, it depletes oxygen and you can have issues with that. So the intention is to have some sort of mast or something on the drawbar that this can be hung up, and all of the fittings are quick fittings too. Bang, bang, bang. So cold, hot, and the gas line in, and then leave that set up while you're camping. Obviously you can adjust the temperature and flow out here, and it'll tell you what the temperature of the water is. So that is the general plan. If it comes off like that, I'll be super happy, but we'll see how we go. So anyway, follow along with the project, but let's get to it. Alrighty, so Adventure Kings recommend that you set up the device and test it first before you take it out the bush and try and use it, obviously to get familiar with the system and how it works. But I'm going to test it in two different ways. The first being the way that it comes with the pump and 12 volts and all of that sort of stuff. And then the second way is I'm going to test it on mains pressure, because the idea I have for when I install it in the Caravan is that I want to be able to use it off grid, so draw out of the water tank using 12 volt power to pump. But also when we're at a caravan park, I want to be able to use the mains pressure to go straight into the system and not even have to use a 12 volt pump. Therefore we would save battery power and not having to use the 12 volt pump to supply pressure to the unit. So first things first, I've got a 12 volt power supply there to run the pump. The switch is over there. I've put the two DC batteries into the unit. I've got a bucket of water to draw from. I've got a LPG gas bottle there. Now just keep in mind the units come with the new QCC coarse thread connectors that go onto the gas bottles, so you'll need to try and source those gas bottles and not the old bayonet style to power the unit with gas. So all we've got to do now is flip the switch on the bottom, turn the gas bottle on, and then turn the pump on. There we go. Starting to get some nice warmth coming through there now. That's beautiful. Okay, so that's pretty warm, almost too warm, but it's quite comfortable, and that's only at the half heating rate. And then obviously everything turns off automatically once you stop the flow of water. So we can start it again, the pump automatically kicks in, you can hear the igniter go on the gas unit, and it's telling you what temperature it's heating it to. So now I'm going to get rid of all of this complication by running the mains pressure right into the unit here to see how it does with that. Okay, you can see now that I've gotten rid of all of that complicated mess with the pump and the wiring and the bucket of water and all of that sort of stuff, and all we've got is this hose that's going straight into the supply line there. So let's fire it up and see if it'll work on mains pressure. Well, I'm going to call that test a success. With the pressure supplied from mains, it seemed to handle it pretty well, although I will say that it wasn't heating it up to as warm a temperature as it was when it was just coming straight out of the bucket. I'd say because this water is coming straight out of the ground, it's a lot colder than what the water in the bucket was, so that could potentially be why I've had to turn it up to get a relatively decent heat. But the temperature that it was then was absolutely perfect for showering. I did turn the flow rate down, so that means that the water spends more time inside the unit heating up to come out hotter, but then obviously the trade-off is less water pressure on you. The plan now is to install this entire system into the Caravan, so that all you have to do when you rock up to your camping site or your caravan park is go outside, hang this unit and connect the connections underneath, and you're good to go. As for the outlet water, I'll have one that goes up to our mixer tap inside the kitchen of the Caravan. So every time you flip the mixer on, it should draw a flow through there and automatically turn that on to heat it. So it'll just be effectively simulating this. And I'll also have another tee-off outside so that you can have a shower off the unit as well. Time to get started on the install. So my plan of attack is, first of all, I'm going to tap into the mains water pressure line that comes in to the Caravan and tee that off, so I've got a line that goes up to the cold water side of the gas hot water system, which will be mounted on the drawbar. Then I'm going to have to run a hot water side hose that comes in to get onto the hot water side of the mixer tap here. But what I'm going to do is basically first off have it just so it's running on mains pressure, and then later on I'm going to install the 12 volt pump so I can draw water from the water tank that's underneath as well, so that you can camp off grid with it. Alright, I've got our gas hot water inlet line teed into the mains water pressure line that comes into the Caravan. I've also added an inline valve there, so if we choose not to use the gas hot water, we can still use water into the van and into the sink. But when we use it, we just turn that valve on, then we can use gas hot water. Now this is just a temporary setup at the moment, just to make sure that the proof of concept works, and then I'll install it all in that front cavity there with the access hatch on the side. So the last part to do now is to run the hot water side out and up to the mixer tap. Okay, so I've installed the hot water outlet line here that goes up to a T-piece, and in one direction it goes off to the shower fitting, and in the other direction it goes off to the mixer tap. And that's all hooked up to the gas hot water system. So all we're going to do now is hook it up to the mixer tap inside. And there we go, I've got it hooked up to the hot water side of the mixer tap here, and obviously that's the cold water side there. I've had to put in some brass fittings to adapt to the household style connectors there, so that I could put a barb fitting on and hook up the rubber hose. So we'll make sure that we check that for leaks as well. Okay, I've got the gas line all hooked up. I've got water coming into the Caravan side there. I've got to throw the valve that I've installed on the inlet line, but I'm going to have to turn the unit on first. Turn the inlet valve on. Whoop. And there we go. Got running water. Oh, it's already coming out warm. Beautiful. Alright, so that's good. Let's go and test the mixer tap out inside. Beautiful, hot water. Oh, nicely mixed too. That's awesome. So all that's left to do now is install the LPG cylinder cradle on the drawbar, and then we'll be all good to go. Obviously this is just the first iteration of this install, and I'm going to make it more accessible later on with a hatch in the side there to that cavity. But so far we've got nice on-demand hot running water in the Caravan. Thanks for watching everyone, see you in the next one.